I audible? Can you hear me? Don't just listen to me, please do think about what I'm trying to say as well. A very warm welcome to Be Aware Soul YouTube channel. Did you know something? Actually, there are some laws that are introduced newly, and according to these laws, actually intercaste marriage can be illegal indirectly. So are you in a shock? Don't worry, I just told you this because there are new laws formed based on love jihad. So today we'll be discussing about what is love jihad and a famous case related to love jihad. So when you talk about love jihad, the major reason I said that it is indirectly making intercaste marriage illegal is because of the fact that even despite the fact we do not know whether love jihad is happening or not, but this law can be misused to a certain extent, telling that any intercaste marriage which was not accepted by parents can be said as love jihad, especially when it comes to the religion of Hindu and Muslim. Let us start with understanding what the term love jihad means. So when you talk about the specific term love jihad, it is related to two religions. One is Muslim and another one is Hindu. So basically, most of the time, a Muslim man tries to fake his love, tries to lure the girl by saying that he likes her, and only if she converts to Islam can they get married and then live a happy life. But the main intention of this marriage would be the conversion of the girl to Islam. This is the prominent meaning of the word love jihad, and this is especially how they say it works. So recently UP had passed a law regarding love jihad or forced conversion laws. If someone is forced to convert to a specific religion, then it is considered to be a crime. Actually, when you talk about love jihad, it is a kind of very controversial term. Why it is controversial? Because yes, you feel like there is love jihad happening. At the same time, yes, you feel that no, there's no love jihad. Actually, there is a real relationship that is wanting to grow. But due to the controversy in the topic, we do not know which side we need to support. So now I'm going to talk about a famous case of Hadia. She was named Akila first and now her name is Hadia. So this case will talk about two sides of the story, wherein in the first part you might feel that there was no kind of forced conversion that happened. But when I tell you the second part of the story, you might feel, okay, there might be a love jihad case that is there. So this story will make you understand that yes, this is a controversial topic. So let us get into the story of Hadia. Hadia's actual name, or the name she had before the name of Hadia, was Akila. She is from Kerala and she is from a Hindu family. Basically, her mom is a Hindu and her dad is an atheist. So, for people who don't know the meaning of atheist is someone who do not have any belief in the term of religion. They do not follow any specific religion as such. Hadia grows in such a surrounding, and after some time she has to go to college, so she moves to Salem. At that time when she moves to Salem, she has a group of friends and a few of them among them were Muslims. She is very much impressed with the way they do namaz 5 times a day. She has a lot of questions running in her mind of why this is happening, how this is happening, I need to know more. So at that time she starts discussing about Islam as a religion with her friends. There were situations where the friends couldn't answer the doubts. Eventually, Akila had to talk to her friend's father to get clarified. And after some days, she started reading the Quran. She was fascinated when she started reading the Quran and she thought, okay, let me convert to Islam. She had an ardent desire to convert to Islam. At this point of time, something happens. She kept having the idea of becoming a Muslim. And at that time, she gave petitions telling that she wanted to convert by her own will, and she wanted to join some school wherein she could study Islam. There were 2 to 3 schools that she went in, but then they refused. Finally, there was a school which was ready to accept her, and they taught her Islam. It was a 2-month course for the beginner who studies Islam. So at this point, you might feel, okay, where is the case of love jihad here? After converting to Islam, she was going to get married to a Muslim man within a year. At that point, her father has a doubt, a specific doubt on why she had to get married so early, or like as soon as she converted, she had to get married. And one more point of doubt occurred when they said that she will be going abroad after she get married, and that was the point where her father got worried. So until here you feel I don't see any case of love jihad here. I can just see that there is a mutual consent between adults and they want to get married. Yes, but then after this what happens is the father thinks and relates it to some recent cases wherein there were a few people who joined the IS from the same organization where her daughter studied Islam, and those people who were found in the IS also were a group of couples wherein there were many of the women who were recently converted to Islam and then taken abroad. So this raised a question in the mind of the father, and the father decided that he needs to take steps now. So then he filed a writ petition, and on that basis the case came to the High Court, and the High Court strongly felt that this was a case of love jihad, and they also strongly felt that the girl was brainwashed and hence they invalidated the marriage. They annulled the marriage, saying that they felt that the girl was not competent enough to take decision. This petition was further appealed to the Supreme Court, wherein the Supreme Court said that listen, you do not have the right to annul someone's marriage or invalidate someone's marriage. You can further investigate into the love jihad case, but then you cannot stop this marriage, or you cannot invalidate this marriage, because this is a freedom of choice of the woman that is being violated. So at this point you might have a strange doubt, okay, maybe this is a case of love jihad, because you might have related it to the case wherein there were many people from Kerala who were joining IS, and the people who were couples were recent converts. At this point the Supreme Court says NIA to investigate in this case. So when the NIA was under investigation, they couldn't find proper evidence saying that this is a conspiracy theory of love jihad wherein they are forcefully converting women and then selling them abroad or something of that sort. But then yes, they found some relation with this. There were many women who were converting during that point of time, and most of the converts were from the same organization, and the same women tried to convert them. So they felt that there is some link, but then they don't have appropriate evidence. I know at this point of time even you would be confused, is this a case of love jihad, or is this a case of just a freedom of choice, or a personal opinion, or a personal choice that she wanted to follow Islam. It is kind of controversial topic. There would be a group of people who say that, you know, this is a case of love jihad, can't you see it in front of your eyes? You can see that there were many people converted, you can see that she got married within a year, and so on. And some others would say, see, this is totally the choice of the person on whom to marry and whom not to marry. Yes. So everyone have different opinions on this. Finally, what I would like to say about this is that, you know what, it is not about a particular religion. When you talk about what is religion, it is something that we follow. It's something that we understand and we feel, yes, this is what we are going to follow. Let me ask you a simple thing. We as a country, or we as a world, have a lot of religion. Let us say we have 8 major religions as such. So every religion, there are a group of people who follow it in a similar manner. So they have the interpretation in that manner. So there are times when things are interpreted in a wrong way. Things are misinterpreted or explained in a wrong way to an extent where in the name of religion there are crimes happening. But is it really required for us to talk these crimes in terms of religion? Because not everyone of a particular religion is acting a specific way. It is just a group of people who have been misinterpreting the religious scripture, who have been explaining the scripture in a wrong way. So this is not about religion at the end of the day. It is about the crime that is happening. It is about the misinterpretation, or it is about the wrongful explanation that is the mistake, and not the mistake of the religion or specific religion. We need to stop focusing on a particular religion, telling, listen, this is because of your religion and I hate your religion. Rather, we need to say, this is a crime because there's something wrong happening in the process of learning, and we need to change that, and not tell that, listen, this is going to be a crime because your religion is making a lot of crimes. That is a wrong thing to do. At the end of the day, if we could see each and every religion as a religion as such, and see a crime in terms of crime and not interrelate both of them, there would be a lot of unity, there will be a lot of happiness, and there would be a lot of peace in this society. It might seem crazy when I talk about such things, but if everyone has such thought, obviously it is possible and it doesn't seem crazy. I would like you to think on that thought, and thank you. Have a nice day. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can visit my blog beawaresoul.com. Thank you. Have a nice day.